Lol's guest says, this was like one of my first ever fanfics I've ever read, so I'm happy to find a re-upload on AO Free. Lol's guest says, again, you legit fueled my imagination with these characters back in 2022. I'm also pretty sure you're the reason why I like lolbit so much. Thank you for making this fanfic. Emery Curry says, I just came to swing by and say that you made an interesting read a few years back. Kept me entertained for a while. Anyway, keep doing what you got going, and have a nice day. Emery Curry says again, on a different video this time, a semi-interesting plot and probably one of some that were actually decent at what it was going for. And to be honest, I still have both sitting in my library. I mean, I've seen many SL stories that were obviously written by some kid that probably haven't picked up an actual book before making them. Stand proud, you are decent. And now for generally one of my favorite comments yet. Aki Yoshida169 says, don't take this in a bad way, it's just constructive criticism. Which meaning that you don't have to do what I say at all. The story is mainly just the original with a bit more flashy words and better grammar. I would actually love to see more bonding and stuff between fun times and less focus on lols being in exile. This is all constructive criticism, so don't take it offensively. So, you guys actually like this fanfiction? Now, I made this fanfiction back in 2020, and I lost the original account, unfortunately, but I am genuinely surprised that you guys like it. You're telling me that you like the fanfiction where it says 3 times in like the same sentence dustbin. Like, I'll just read it out for you. Baby carried a black bag full of trash to the main dustbin, frustration still prickling through her as she reached the dustbin, and threw the trash with irritation into a dustbin. Now, okay, I don't know about you, but that's not a really good sentence in my opinion. There's a lot wrong with a fanfiction in my opinion, but I wrote it, so I guess I'm a little more hard on myself with it. But now it seems like there's like this little underground fan base for it. Not a very big one, but like a handful of people, which is still surprising. And it's not just now where people liked it. Like, if I look at the comments, people loved it back then as well. And I can't say how much this genuinely made my day every time I read those comments. Yet, I still wonder why people liked it so much. It baffled me for a little bit, but then I looked a little deeper, and it seems that people mainly liked it for the story, which I guess makes sense. There's a lot of things in the story that I would change now, definitely, like Funtime Foxy turning into a girl and then turning back into a boy. I don't know why I did that, honestly. But again, it's the story that people like, and I think it's because there's not quite something like this out there, at least not back then. I'm not sure about now. I'm not really in the FNAF fanfiction space anymore. I mean, I was mainly on wattpad when it came to these things, and usually things you saw was like X-Reader stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that. X-Reader, I suppose, can be fun. I don't really read them anymore, or like, I just didn't read much of them in general. But this is like generally lore associated, like canon compliant. And back then, there just didn't seem like a lot of canon compliant fanfictions were out or roaming around. I can only think like of one other one. As I said, I don't remember the other ones, and it has been a while since I've last read a FNAF fanfiction. But the only other one I can think of is by Tuskichu, and I need to quickly like check what the fanfiction is called. Sorry, I don't have a script for this. I'm like just recording this. It's called Do You Trust Me? That was the only other one I can think of that was like canon compliant, and I suppose it got very popular actually. It has like 260k reads, which is insane. Now, TGIFE, or Great Idea for Escape, only has like 4k, which is fucking insane in my opinion. Like, it's crazy it got that popular. And like Emery Curry said, there's a lot of fan fictions out there by kids who clearly didn't pick up a book. I was an avid reader. I didn't read any of the FNAF books. I couldn't afford them, but I was a big reader of Warrior Cats, and I put a lot of. You can see through how Foxy and Lolbit acts that it was very cat-like instead of like fox or dog-like. Which, my bad, I should have done a little more research, but I didn't care back then. I was 14 and I just wanted to write. It's actually insane. I wrote that at 14. I'm 19 now. That is crazy, man. And as Emery Curry said again, it has a decent plot, which I suppose it does. But there's a lot of plot elements I wish I didn't add. Like, it wasn't important. Like, Foxy turning into a girl, it just didn't do anything for the plot. I'm definitely changing that. Oh my god. But it has a plot, I suppose. It definitely does. So if you don't know, and you definitely haven't probably read this, except for like the handful of people who have, the plot is basically the idea to escape sister location. Not the execution. I didn't get to do the book for that because I lost my account. It was actually quite stupid how I lost it. I used someone else's email for it, but I didn't know the person whose email I used. So I learned my lesson there. Don't do that. Don't use a random person's email for your Wattpad account. Anyway, back to the plot. Basically, as I said, it's just them doing the plan, and okay, there was a lot of elements that I just scrapped and just didn't lead anywhere, and there was a lot of inconsistencies. Anyway, so they make the plan and whatnot. There's a lot of drama, and a bunch of people die. By a bunch, it's like 4 people who die. Yeah. And there's like some clear romance between Foxy and Lolbit, but Lolbit was very one-sided, actually. So it was a one-sided relationship where Foxy liked Lolbit and whatnot. Can you tell who I shipped when I was 14? So there definitely were plot elements, but I think the biggest death that really got people was Lolbit's death, the main character. She was like, it was 3 POVs. There's the circus baby, who's the antagonist. Funtime Foxy is kind of like a middle protagonist, and then the main protagonist, which was Lolbit. And Lolbit died at the end because I killed all the weirdos. It's not that I'm calling them weirdos, that's actually their name if you look at Ultimate Custom Night. But I killed all of them because we're not in the main game. I wanted to be consistent, which is funny because there's a lot of inconsistencies in the fanfiction itself. And despite being an avid reader, I had a lot of grammar problems, and oh my god, the grammar is so bad. I can't begin to describe how awful it is. I think I'll just like read through it and try and find a good example when I make the video. But I think it's mainly because I have dyslexia and I really struggle with grammar, and I also have ADHD, which doesn't help either when it comes to like learning. I'm actually surprised I passed English sometimes, but English is my home language, and okay, I love writing. I really do love writing. I'm writing my own stories as of right now and whatnot. But back to fanfiction. People genuinely like this, despite all the grammar problems. Like, props to them. I did say in the author's note, don't become like grammar police. Which, okay, fair enough. I knew my grammar wasn't the best. No, that's a lie. I thought my grammar was perfect. It was not perfect. I was like the nerd writer kid in class. And, anyway, this was all during COVID. This is why I wrote it. I wrote it during COVID. And, wow. It definitely got me through sometimes. Like, I finished 20 chapters. Sure, it's short chapters, but I finished 20 chapters in the span of, like, fucking 2 months? Pardon my language. I finished in, like, 2 months, which is crazy. Like, even someone else commented on how crazy it is that I managed to finish this story in 2 months. Okay, like, I found a comment, apparently it was 3 months, but they said, I'm surprised you managed to finish a whole book in 3 months, especially when it's your first story. You're an Wattpad master, literally. And everything was well. I was so happy with fanfiction. I started writing the second book too. I had to take like a break because I had like a writer's block, but then something terrible happened, and as I mentioned before, I lost the account and I just could not get it back because I used someone else's email and I did not remember the password. I remember like logging out of the account on my Wattpad app and going into a different Wattpad profile I had, where I closed a tab on my not my laptop, my tablet, and I just thought I'm just gonna like come back to it later. But little did I know that that would be the last time I had access to my account. And when I lost it, I was genuinely so devastated. Like, it crushed me, genuinely. Because this was like a big passion of mine, like writing. And I felt like I lost everything, and technically, I feel like I still did, because all my fans were on there. And no matter how hard I tried, I just could not rebuild that, because I had like 59 followers. It might not seem a lot, but it was a lot to me. And as I said, I felt like I lost everything that day. I was genuinely so devastated, honestly. But then I decided to make a better version where the grammar is better and upload it to my new profile. And I did so, but I put it under rewritten for some reason, which it wasn't rewritten. It just had better grammar and stuff, as the commenter said. But in 2023 December, after receiving those comments, I decided, you know what? Screw it. I'm actually going to rewrite this because I want to rework it so I can publish it one day into official publishing, like not official, but self-publishing. Like I'll just rework it into its own original story. So I was like, okay, I need an actual proper decent story to do this. So I decided to rewrite it in December 2023. But in April 2024, I only had 2.5 chapters. And I stopped uploading since then. But I decided to look back at it and carry on writing, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. Is I'm carrying writing, but it might be slow because I'm writing a Cookie Run Kingdom fanfiction at the moment, which has 135 chapters I need to do and possibly more. So my hands are a little full right now, but I am rewriting the story, like genuinely. And I'm removing a lot of plot elements and like replacing them for other things, and I'm adding more characters. Like I'm removing Juniper and replacing her with Tangle. I really want to add Tangle, Funtime Bonnie, and Funtime Chica, and Funtime Chica's cupcake thing. Like, okay, I know Funtime Bonnie is a fan character, but I can still add him because I want to. And because I'm exploring why the weirdos aren't around, but I'm not exploring why they're not around. I'm not gonna add like toy Funtime Foxy like Mangle technically, because that's just like a whole other bag of worms and stuff. Which, speaking of, I'm completely removing FNAF 2 from the storyline. It added nothing. It was just filler and did nothing. Plus, it wasn't that very popular either. It's just whatever. And the amount of chapters are also increasing a lot. Not a lot, but I think there's like 30 chapters now, like close to 30 chapters. Okay, I'll quickly check. Because I have so much planned for this now. There is 23 chapters, sorry, not 30 chapters, imagine 30 chapters. I was thinking of the Cookie Run Kingdom fanfiction, my bad. Anyway, but there is 23 chapters compared to the 20 chapters I had before, because there's a lot of things I want to add, because as the commenter said, they'd like to see more of pre-exile and stuff, which I can do because my writing is better and my story plotting is better as well. At least I'd like to say it is, and I think I can make a really decent fan fiction out of it. I'm literally planning this new rewrite like it's an actual book. And I'm doing, like, I don't really do a lot of research for this shit because I know FNAF lore so well. And, okay, I might need to look at Secret of a Mimic because I don't know if that's gonna change anything. Anyway. But in retrospect, I'd say I'm confused why you guys like it. But I'm glad you guys did because it made me confident in my writing abilities, to be honest with you guys. But I think I'm gonna go right now, and I'll see you guys another day. Bye!